Hi, it's Dave Joe once again for the Boxing Voice. Pleased to be joined by the new COO of SJAM, Shane Watson. How are you, mate?
What's going on, man? All good, mate. Out here in sunny Vegas at the moment. Actually, it's cold this time of the year in December, but it's still way better than London. So I'm okay with that. But yeah, I've been at it for 10 days now. So just getting some work done at it with the Juggernaut, checking over his training camp and stuff. Gonna have some fight news on that next week. And yeah, just out here enjoying a bit of the sun, a bit of training, keep some good company because I'm quite good company, you see. So, I mean, good company to have around. So doing a bit of that, and then I actually fly to Mexico tomorrow actually because I've got our light heavyweight Darius making his debut on Thursday in Mexico on a Pro Bellum / Mexico promotion company in Mexico. So that'd be quite cool. And then back to Manchester for the big one, Sniper the Boss fighting for the IBO title. So yeah, good stuff.
Busy week ahead of you. So just,
yeah, man.
I mean, I've known you for a few years now. You started off in the media game as many of us do. You're now the new COO of SJAM. Shane, talk about your journey. What was it like when Sam announced that he's moving on to pastures new? You get the call up because you've been working with SJAM for quite a few years now. You and Adam must have sat down. What was the news like? Because he's such a, let's be honest, quite an icon. I mean, there's gifts off him as well, isn't there?
You know, I mean, it was quite a shock because obviously Sam's a big part of the furniture here. Obviously, I mean, him and Adam started it many years ago. I said many years ago. It wasn't even actually that long ago. It was only about 4 or 5 years ago. Come up to 5, I think now. But so yeah, they started that, and obviously it just seemed like a relationship that would probably never end because they were like family. They did everything together and whatnot, and they became more than just business partners, I believe. So. It was a big shock, but I mean, it happens in life, doesn't it? In working case scenarios, like myself when I was doing the media stuff years ago, I never would have thought I'd have ended up managing or being part of the management teams, some of the biggest talent in the world. And yeah, you just don't know where life can take you. It takes you, mate. You don't know what you might be doing in a couple of years now. You might have gone some crazy journey and end up doing something completely different to what you're doing now. And it's just that's what's happened. Sam's gone to a new company, Pro Bellum, who had their first show on the weekend, good show as well in Dubai, and I think he'll do great there. I think he'll do good. I think he done good where he was, but I think he'll be much better in the promotional game because I think more for management. I think it's more you do the hard work behind the scenes, and then the fighters maybe do the talking and the promoters do. Like you look at Eddie and Frank and various other promoters, they sell the fights all the time, don't they? They talk a bit of rubbish, talk a bit of trash on cameras, sell the fight and whatnot. That's what they do, and they're really good at it. So I think Sam would be even better in that role. And it's an exciting opportunity for him, isn't it? Like it's a new start for him, it's a fresh start. They're a new company, so it'd be interesting to see where they can go as well. They've had a lot of companies in boxing, some do really well, some don't. I think they do really well. They've got a great team. I've had some great people like Richard Schaefer and Harold and whatnot. They've got some great experienced guys in that team, so I don't see why it wouldn't work out. But yeah, I'm excited for him. I'm excited for him. It's a good opportunity for him, good opportunity for his family as well. So all the best to him, really. We still talk all the time. Still really good mates. Still talk every other day or so. Talk about random stuff. Not even really about boxing these days. More about how bad Derby are doing in administration.
Don't. I'm from Derby as well. So
yeah. Listen, I've been through this before. I'm a Rangers fan. Glasgow Rangers. We went under. We're Division 3 in that. So I can sympathise. But it's now my time to laugh at him. He laughed at me through the horrible years. It's my time to laugh at him now. So.
But look, it's exciting times for you as well. Being part of this journey now, especially into 2022, massive opportunity for you. Big shoes to fill, but also at the same time, you're with an established team. I'm not just saying this to blow smoke up your arse though. I mean, Adam, you've got Joe Joyce still. The platform is there. But you know, Lerrone Richards as well. Everybody's around you. So you know what is in store for SJAM next, because it sounds like the future is still bright.
Yeah, and that's first of all, I owe Adam a lot because Adam could have easily have brought somebody else in with far more experience than me, and maybe who operated at a high level and whatnot. But he showed a lot of trust in me and belief to give me such a role because I don't think there's anyone my age that's doing anything like that. So it took a massive risk, but it's a risk that I promised him pay off because I love doing this every day. Like, I live boxing. I don't wake up at 9 a.m. and stop at 5 p.m. every day. I do it every day. I work every day. I don't actually box every day, is what I'm saying. I mean, I work in the sport every day. And you live and breathe it, like I'm out here, working 24/7 here as well. Like, same when I'm back in London, doing 24/7. We've got a lot of guys to look after, and we're quite a hands-on management company. Like, we're not just ones that say, oh, well, here's your fight date, see you in 2 months. We're hands-on, we're with them all the time. We go over there with them. We're always on the other end of the phone as well. And like, yeah, so yeah, it's an intense job, but I'm massively grateful to Adam for giving me the opportunity, because, like I said, I think he could have gone with someone more experienced, but I've worked for him for a while now, and I think he trusts me and believes in me. Well, he must do. I hope so, anyway. And then he decided to give me the opportunity, and I told him I will grab it with both hands and make the most of it, because if I'm doing this at 26, who knows what the future has for me, and with SJAM as well, because we're still quite a new company. Like I said, we've been around for a few years, but like we've grown quite a lot in them 3 years. I mean, we've got Joe's manager for the world title now. That's massive, and that's for the heavyweight world title as well. We've got Lerrone who's fighting for a version of the world title this weekend in a fight that is definitely worthy for any belt, really, against Carlos Gongora. And then you've got Johnny Fisher, who's just going to be a superstar, of course. You've got John Hedges, who's starting to look a lot better now.
Big ticket seller, isn't he, as well? Massive ticket seller, Johnny Fisher, huge, yeah. And John Hedges, like you just said as well.
No, we don't, do you know what? And that's not even so much me. I mean, Adam and Sam have done a great job with Johnny Fisher, and Joe played a big part in it, because Joe's actually a part of his advisory team. So yeah, and Joe played a big part of it, because Joe gave him an opportunity when he had no any real amateur fights or anything like that. Brought him out to Vegas on sparring, done great account of himself. And then we signed him and got him a great deal with Matchroom. And then he's done really well by Johnny Fisher, and he's done well by us too. But he's a superstar in the making. And it's mental from where he's coming from. Like I said, he's not like he's an Olympian or anything like that. So it's done great so far. And we've got many other great fighters as well, like Guido in America. Well, he's actually in Italy at the moment, but he fights out in America. I mean, he fights on massive shows, got a good record. He's looking for some big fights in 2022. We've got John Hedges, who finished at the Strong on the undercard of Chantal Cameron McGee, and he's looking to step it up next year. Stepping up with his next opponent, which will hopefully be agreed by Tuesday and announced. Tuesday tomorrow, yes, and agreed by tomorrow and announced in the next week. So he'll be pushing on a little bit more now. And then we've got Darius. Like I said, we've got him fighting on Thursday. He's actually a massive talent. We probably need to do a better job bigging him up, actually, because he was the #1 in the US national team at heavyweight. And he's nowhere even near big enough to be heavyweight. I don't know what he was doing, but he'll be campaigning at light heavyweight, and that's from Thursday. So he's going to be a real superstar in the right time. He'll be the right. So we don't even need to move him slowly, because he's already fought at such a high level as an amateur. So, and won like the Golden Gloves and stuff like that. So he's done a bit as an amateur. Hopefully we'll have some fight news for Cody soon as well. Yeah, we've got a lot going on. We've got a lot going on. All of our fighters, Florian Marku as well, another big name we've got out there. Adam's working really hard behind the scenes on getting him his new promotional deal, which hopefully will be announced soon, maybe. But looking for a better performance than his last one, but a much bigger fight. But we want to, ultimately, the aim is for him to fight in Albania. It's what he wants. So if that's what he wants, it's what we must do our best to try and do. But I'm really excited. Florian Marku as well. He's got a massive 2022 ahead of him. He's world ranked in the IBF. Obviously, brings a crazy following, which means that he can bring big names to Albania, because he will sell out. They've just built a new national stadium, actually. That holds about 30,000, including the pitch. We're talking about 32,500.
I remember actually going to you were there as well, one of the boxer shows, and they had this sort of fanfare for him, which is, look, Florian Marku. I'll be honest with you, I didn't know who the guy was or anything like that. I thought but the crowd was absolutely stacked. It was
insane, isn't it?
And they're shouting out Marku, and they had the.
Do you know what? They actually travel crazy. Much as a massive Albanian community in England, obviously, and in London and whatnot. But a lot of them actually travel as well. That's what I'm saying. Like, this guy is like, I don't know what kind of celebrity you can maybe compare him to in the UK, but like, he's like almost like the Tyson Fury of England, like where he'll get mobbed at airports and stuff. Like when he flies back into Albania, there are thousands of people waiting for him at the airport just screaming for him, like in tears and everything. Like he's like they're massive. He's like what the Queen is to England, but to them, like that's what he is. He's everything to them because they've never really had a boxer at that level from the country before. So and he's not just done that. He's achieved a lot in combat sports as a whole. He's got a crazy MMA record, a crazy kickboxing record as well. So they've obviously all followed that, and they'll follow this too. And he's just got a massive, amazing fan base. I mean, even in at the Wembley show, Boxer, the recent one, with the COVID impact, and obviously not even been out and really struggling to travel over, he pretty much done the whole show. I couldn't see anyone else's fans, really. All I could see was just Albanian flags and Marku's name being shouted out everywhere around the whole arena. And that wasn't even for a big fight. It was just an 8-round takeover against Lizzetto. It wasn't even a big fight. Can you imagine if he had a decent title fight, even if it was an IBF international title defense? It would do crazy numbers. And in Albania, it was sell out the national stadium in inside a single day.
Is he still looking at the Conor Ben fight now, or is it a case of he knows that's possibly not going to, I wouldn't say not going to happen, because Conor Ben's has got his eyes set on Adrian Broner, hasn't he, in terms of that?
Obviously, Florian Marku would love that fight, but we would love to fight for him as well. But I think we have to be quite realistic at this moment in time. It isn't going to happen. It looks like Eddie's got his path set out for Conor. So it looks like his next few fights are already planned out. So if we keep getting some good wins under Florian's name, and I think it'll be good for Florian to get a bit more expensive for going in there too, because he's had one solid 10-rounder that he's actually done the 10 rounds, is what I mean. Obviously we had one in Trotman as well, but he stopped him, didn't he? So we had Maxim Podin, good learning fight. He made a lot of mistakes on that day as well, which we won't be making in the future. And then we've had the 8-rounder. It wasn't the best performance, but I think Florian needs to get up for his fights. So he needs to have that bit of fear factor about him. He didn't respect Lizzetto at all. So that's why he started doing silly things like letting him punch him in the face and things like that, which obviously as he goes up the levels, he won't be doing. Well, I hope so anyway. We need to maybe good little title defense at home against a decent name. Do you know who he mentioned to me he wanted to fight the other day? He went to fight Kerman Lahara at 154.
154?
Yeah. He said, let's get Kerman Lahara to 154, even though he's not even a big 147. That's the kind of challenges he wants. He won't back away. He said, let's bring Kerman Lahara to Albania and we'll fight him at 154 for the European title. I mean, I'm not saying that fight's going to happen, but I'm just saying that's the kind of things he's saying that's what he wants. But so he won't shy away from anyone. He'll have good fights. What he wants is he just wants to fight respectable names as well. He doesn't want to fight. You get these low-level guys, and I'm not being disrespectful to these guys, by the way, because they'll have, should I say, balls bigger than I'll ever have by getting in the ring. But the thing is, they call people out to make a name for themselves because they know that Florian's got a big following, and they know that Florian will probably buy it because that's just the way that he is. He's got a lot of pride about him. He doesn't like people talking rubbish about him. So, but I've been telling him just not to respond because it's just pointless. It's just going to get other people followers they shouldn't have, and whatnot. But it would need to be a respectable name because we don't want to fight some guy that's 6 or 7-0. I've had one decent fight in the division, like not even decent, like Southern area level. And then once it gets to fight Florian, at the end of the day, Florian holds cards. He brings the money in to any promoter. That's why every promoter in the world wants to sign him. And that's it. He'll pick who he wants to fight. He doesn't have to fight these random guys who haven't proved anything in the division either. But I can see why they do. Like I said, they get a name out of it, trying to get some followers, trying to give themselves an opportunity as well. Maybe they think they can beat him, but at the end of the day, we'll pick his opponents. These guys that call him out ain't even high enough rank to fight for his belt. Like, who was that guy that fought in Channel 5 the other night? Stephen McKenna. Like, I don't know what he's doing because he's fighting. If you want to call out someone like Florian, go out there and make a massive statement against a decent opponent. Don't go and fight a guy who's lost his last 4 fights. I think he was 4-4, and his name was Jack Eubank. That sounds like Eubank, but Eubank. That's honestly his name. And, I'm not being disrespectful to him. It's just actually quite a funny name. But if you want to make a statement and fight these guys, you can't just call them out on this. It's just ridiculous. It's almost a bit embarrassing because if you really want to fight these guys, then prove you can fight level. We couldn't even defend the belt against him. He's not ranked inside. He's not fought a guy inside the top 600 in his career, and he's meant to be such a highly ranked. He's done so much in the amateurs. He's 9-0, 10-0, and he's never fought anyone. Like people who've done well in the amateurs, like Joe, fought Ian Newson on his debut.
Yeah, great debut as well. Great debut.
You don't take these easy fights early on if you're that good. Like even look at Florian's record. Florian was fighting people winning records from his debut. everyone that Florian has fought has come to win. Okay, I'm not saying that he's beaten world level guys or even really. Well, I guess maybe Proden would be fringe European level. He's 19-0, 15 KOs, and held a belt and whatnot, and got some good wins. But like, he's been fighting guys coming to win since his debut. Stephen McKenna has never once in his career fought a guy coming to win, and you're calling out Florian. It's just ridiculous. So other people call out Florian that deserve the shot more than he does. So he's way at the back of the queue, and he'll probably never get that fight now anyway. But yeah, there are a lot of good level guys that we want to fight. He wants to have a good fight next, put it that way.
I mean, David Avanesian hasn't got a date yet, has he? Or a Clawson, man. I mean, those are great fights.
You know what? He's a good fighter, man. I mean, Avanesian, I'd say right at this moment in time. I mean, Floyd wouldn't like me saying this because, like I said, of his pardon stuff, he's probably a level above where we need to be at the moment in the sense of like, we've had that fight with Proden, so good. Maybe fringe European level is where we're at the moment. You got to test yourself at every level. Like we did it with Lerrone. Test yourself at every level, then you find out what level you are. Yeah, especially welterweight division, man. It's a very difficult division to win anything in, really. Even an English title, British title, obviously you can't fight for them, but it's a hard division to win these belts in. And yeah, I think it's important we have a good homecoming show against a decent opponent, and then when we see where we're at. I mean, Avanesian's has just been mandated for final eliminator for the WEC title, so I don't think he would even gain anything out of fighting for him apart from a good payday. But I'm assuming he's looking for a bit more than that at this stage of his career. But Avanesian, a fight that I massively respect, and to be honest, I wouldn't want to put any of my fighters in really with that guy, man. That guy is a serious talent. That guy is unbelievable. I mean, the problem is with him, he's such a good fighter, like such a good fighter, but he almost brings no reward in the sense of like, no, he's not a massive name. No matter what, you're in for hard night's work with him, even if you do beat him. Like, he's hard night's work. And I respect him a lot, and I respect his trainer, Carl Greaves, a lot as well, man. A great guy. His knowledge in the game is unbelievable. He's done a great job with Avanesian. So I think he's improved a lot since he lost to Kavalauskas some years back. So it'd be even a bit of an interesting rematch, actually. But yeah, we've done great. And yeah, no, I think we're a few fights away from something like that yet. But I mean, if that fight got offered him, he wouldn't turn it down either. But that's why you got to have a good team around you to know when it's the right time to take that kind of fight. But yeah, we'll look for, hopefully, the dream for him, and probably for us as well, because we want to make him happy, is to have a defence in Albania of his IBF international title.
That'd be a good one. I mean,
we are after that.
Where are we with Joe the Juggernaut Joyce now? I mean, it's been a year since the win against arch nemesis Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois has been out a few times. Joe Joyce, has he been? I'm trying to remember now. It's quite late in the day for me. So, has he been out since after he has, hasn't he?
Yeah, Takam, didn't he?
Takam, that was the one. Yeah, so he's beat Takam. Where are we now with his career? Because day one has always been with Joe Joyce from when David Hay had him as well, which is a fast track. We need to fast track him to a title because of the age. Age is on his side, but he's someone. I mean, we spoke to many people about Joe. Spoke to Joe himself, and everyone says you'd have to hit him with a sledgehammer to put him down. He is. He just keeps on bulldozing forward. What is next for Joe Joyce? Is it going to be a title eliminator shot? Is he what's next?
It was interesting, actually. The press conference will be next Monday. He's got a good fight. He's a good, solid guy. He's been around. Everyone will know who he is. That'll be getting announced next week. That's for Frank Warren and that to announce. But he's going to be fighting on a good show. And yeah, it'll be announced next week. He'll be out in early mid-February, against a good level guy. Good level guy who's been around, and it will be a fight that means a bit as well. So it'll be kind of say about giving too much away here. A fight of because let's potentially say technically a final eliminator maybe, but even though it kind of already is mandatory, so it's a bit of a confusing one. But it's a fight that means a lot. I mean, again, every fight means a lot because you can't afford to slip up now. We're there, ready to fight for a world title. He's ready. He would have fought for a world title if the opportunity came now, but it didn't. And yeah, so every fight is important, very important, because you're only one mistake away from being at the bottom of the pile again. So it's still a very big fight. It's still a very important fight, and a fight that Joe's going to look great in because he's working really hard out in Vegas. So you're thinking of Joe, he could have easily got comfortable after that Dubois fight. He pays a lot of money to stay out here, like a lot of money to stay out here and to improve all the time. Back with Ismail Salas. So after the Takam fights, and Joe always looks his best with Ismail. And he's someone that he respects a lot and listens to him. I mean, how could you not? But, so it's going really good. Really excited for the announcement next week. He's going to come back from Vegas on this week, and he's going to because you have to quarantine for a couple of days to make sure he gets a negative test back before the press conference. And he's going to spend Christmas with his family, still train hard out in England, and then our plan is to come back early in the new year to Vegas to finish his training camp and have who, in my opinion, is the most established. I think he actually has the most world champions in history. I think it's an actual fact. Ismail Salas, who probably could be called the Sir Alex Ferguson of boxing for what he's achieved. And not even just as a pro coach, as an amateur as well, with the Cuban national team. I mean, he's unbelievable. So, it's important that we're out here with him because we believe he gets the best out of Joe. And and it's good, not just for that. Joe likes being away from home for training camps. Like we have Steve Brown, who's a very good trainer in his own right. He's achieved a lot as well. And he's still only young, but he trains from London. There's a lot of distractions for Joe in London, like family and friends and just life as a whole. Isn't it? Out here, he gets his son, his training done and stuff like that. He enjoys it being out here. So he's never as moody in the mornings out here, I've noticed. So Vegas is definitely better for him.
I mean, he's someone who lets his fist do the talking in the ring and stuff. And, he certainly impressed a lot of people after the Dubois win, because that was a case of, red pill, blue pill, wasn't it? Who do you pick? Because it was straight down the middle. And we saw the celebrations in the dressing rooms afterwards with, yourself, Sam, and Adam and everything like that. You lot truly believed from day one that this would happen.
Absolutely.
So with Joe now, the titles could possibly be fragmented depending on what happens with, mandatory's not going Usyk's way. Does AJ continue with the rematch? There's loads of ifs, buts and variables, and also Dillian White against Fury. There's loads of stuff going on at the minute. Would 2022, would that be the year that Joe has to do it for a world title? Is it a case of you've got one shot and that is the year? Because the way the heavyweight landscape is changing all the time, isn't it?
Obviously, ideally, there was talk of us fighting Fury in February and March. We'd have taken that shot in a heartbeat. So any opportunity to fight for world heavyweight title, we're going to jump at it. But obviously, the heavyweight landscape is a bit confusing at the moment. It's a little bit up in the air what's going to go on. Is Usyk going to fight Fury? Is AJ rematching Usyk? If Fury fights Usyk, is there going to be an agreement in place that AJ has to fight the winner? Does he have to fight? Does it have to be the title? Does it have to be undisputed, or can he just fight the winner? All of these things come into play, don't they? So, listen, I have a lot of respect for WBO. They're a great governing body. They've done great by the sport for many years. I would trust them to make the right decision and enforcing the mandatory, because I believe the WBO are a little bit behind on mandatory, actually. So I know that Usyk was a WBO mandatory, obviously, and that fight was only a couple of months ago. But if you're a bit behind as well, it's not fair on always maybe the other guys who worked hard to get to their ranking, that they didn't have to wait longer, especially with Joe. We don't want to be waiting around any longer. We believe he's world level now. So let's make the fights now. And Joe against any of those guys is a big fight still. So I don't think many of them would be queuing up to fight Joe because of his style and whatnot. It's just going to be a nightmare for them all. But at the end of the day, we are going to be pushing for that fight. Obviously, we've got a big fight to deal with first. So all respect to our opponent as well. Like I said, any mistakes now, then it's going to leave us in a really difficult position. But at the end of the day, we believe in him. We believe in Ismail as well and the team. And hopefully we'll get the world heavyweight title shot next year. And I feel like we should. I feel like we deserve it. I feel like if you look at the division, after our next win and maybe one on top of that as well, there's not many heavyweights that can compete with our resume. The only one that's not a world champion, okay, obviously I know AJ hasn't even got his belt anymore, but out of AJ, he's had world title shots and stuff like that before. When AJ fought for a world title, I wouldn't have said that his resume was better than Joe's when he fought Charles Martin. Dylan White at the time, but Dylan White at the time, that was a British title fight. That was a British level fight. Do you know what I mean? So I think Joe more than deserves his shot. So I think other than Dylan White, and it looks like he's going to be fighting for the world heavyweight title against Tyson Fury, and obviously Deontay Wilder, but I mean his future's uncertain at the moment. And you've got Anthony Joshua.
Hinting at retirement, isn't he? Hinting at retirement, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's uncertain. And then you've got Anthony Joshua, who I don't know what's going on there. That's a little bit of a confusion thing going on there. But we've got the best resume. So like he deserves his shot, man. He deserves his shot. And do you know what? He's gone about his business in the right way as well. He's never avoided anyone. He's taken every shot he's had. There's some heavyweights out there, not naming any names, but who have been offered 2 or 3 final eliminators and never taken the fights. And then they've said how they should have had a world heavyweight title shot for X and X amount of time. But you had 2 opportunities at final eliminators. Some people act like they're more hard done by than what they are. So in boxing, the hard sport, there's a lot of politics in it. But if you've been offered 2 final eliminators and you didn't take either of them, and you can't always say about how you don't get certain shots because that is 2 massive opportunities to fight for world title. We've offered those before. We would have taken them as well, but we just never did. So, but now we are number 1 in WBO, so we're in a great place. Either way, we're in a great place. Joe's happy, we're happy, his trainer's happy. So it's a big 2022 for Joe. It'll be a big year.
Brilliant. Shane, thank you from the Boxing Voice, mate. Is there anything else you'd like to plug before we wrap this up?
When will this be going out?
This will go out tomorrow.
Right, okay, cool. Yeah, one thing I'd like to add, Lerrone Sniper the Boss Richards, my very good friend from I was at Esham, fights for the IBO title this weekend against the ever so hard-hitting Carlos Gongora in a massive fight. Do you know what? That fight hasn't been hyped up enough and it hasn't been spoken about enough because that is an absolutely great fight. I think the reason why it's a very good card, so credit to Matchroom and Eddie Hearn for putting on a great card, great show, but that is an unbelievable fight. Like, obviously, we've seen Chisora Parker before. We know what to expect in that fight. Obviously, Zelfa Barrett's in a good fight, whatnot, against... wait, is that fight off? Madrimov? No, not Madrimov. Sorry, it's Zelfa Barrett's fight off, isn't it?
Zelfa Barrett, I don't think he's on the card.
Because it was originally there, wasn't it? A final eliminator for the IBF, wasn't it?
I believe so. I don't think.
And then they brought in Lee McGregor instead, haven't they?
Yeah, so I don't think he's on the card.
So by far, without a shadow of a doubt, the biggest fight on that card outside of Chisora Parker is Lerrone's. And that is a massive fight. I mean, the opportunities for Lerrone beating Carlos Gongora are endless, especially in the super middleweight division. Especially when all the belts are going to come vacant as well. That is a massive opportunity against a massive name who punches like a horse kicks. He was going to remember when we thought Billy Joe was going to pull out, he was going to be the stand-in opponent to fight Canelo, Carlos Gongora. So he's a very good fighter. Knocked out Ali Akhmedov in unbelievable fashion in the last round. And Ali Akhmedov was the next big thing at the time. He was the next Triple G, came in trying to take Gongora's head off, and Gongora stayed tough and strong and won that fight in the last round. So we're in with a serious talent on Saturday. But I know how talented Lerrone is. And don't be surprised if that fight is more one-sided than what people think it would be, because Lerrone's had his best training camp. There's no excuses going into this fight. He's in unbelievable shape, and I believe he will win that fight fairly comfortably, even though he's in with such a formidable talent. But I can't wait for it, and I'm really excited for him. Technically, it'll be our first world champion as well. So people sometimes don't count the IBO, but I count fights if they're the right fights.
It's still a world title, though, at the end of the day. It's quite disrespectful.
Yeah, if it's in the right fight, I believe.
Maxie Hughes, for example, like he's IBO champion. It's a world title.
Yeah. I mean, it's all in the eyes of, like, for me, the way I look at world titles are, if you're fighting a genuine world level guy, then for me, I accept it as a world title. If you're fighting a genuine, and there's no doubt about it, Carlos Gongora is a genuine world level fight. No one beats Carlos Gongora at super middleweight currently. There is not a fight that's got a better win than that currently, because obviously Callum Smith's moved up. Obviously, even John Ryder hasn't got a better win than that. He hasn't got some very good wins. But he hasn't got a better win than that. And Zach Parker, I don't even really want to talk about that situation, but like, definitely hasn't. I mean, his best win today is still Darryl Williams, and he didn't win that fight. He robbed Darryl Williams that night. Or he didn't rob the night, so that's a bit unfair. The judges, Darryl Williams won that fight. So, and other than that, I'm trying to think. I hope I haven't missed anyone else out, but super middleweight at that, around that level, there's not a fight. And Britain's got a better win than that. So hopefully that means he'll get some really big fights coming off of that as well. And another one, he will fight anyone. He didn't. When Carlos Gongora got offered to him, he didn't shy away from him, thinking, no, I don't. Like, listen, not many people want to fight Carlos Gongora. Eddie even told me this. Not many people want to fight Gongora. Why would you? A guy that punches like a horse kicks. He's a big name to us in the sense of like, he's a massive name for Lerrone to have on his record. But if we're talking about worldwide known, he's not really that known. It's a massive risk fighting Gongora. No one really wants to fight him. No one ever calls him out. I've never heard anyone call that man out in my life. So, but Lerrone's in the same position. No one really wants to fight him. Stylistically, very hard to fight. Very hard to get sparring for as well. So, I just want to give a good shout out for Lerrone. He's gonna have a good fight week. I'm gonna just about make it actually. So, while sticking to the rules, quarantine until my negative test comes back, and I'll be there fight night. If I don't test positive, I'll be there fight night. So.
Well, luckily I'll be there, and we'll definitely catch up on Saturday, mate. It'll be a good end of year for SJAM, and I'll congratulate you in person.
That's it, 100%. Well, thanks. Take care, mate, and I'll catch you in Manchester, won't I?
Absolutely. You take care, Shane. Catch you on Saturday.
That's right, mate.
Enjoyed the video. Feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows. The list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.